Okay, so let me share my screen.
I don't need to be on Overwatch, do I?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Cool. So usually the way that we do VOD reviews is that I'll ask you. Well, first we'll pick a map and say, okay, let's pick a map to look at, and then I'll ask you, what do you feel like you're struggling with? But for this one specifically, I want to do things a little bit different because I've been watching you for I think 3 weeks now, and you're learning Lucio. So and I think I kind of already have an idea of what you're struggling with, so I'm gonna kind of skip over that. Um, what I have in mind is that I think your struggle with Lucio right now is that you're really not sure what you should be doing. Does that sound about right?
Isn't that obvious?
Right. So I don't think you're doing a bad job. I think you're doing a lot that's really good, but I think you're still unsure of like what you should be doing most of the time.
Yeah, because like you told me I have to follow Cosmic and help him out, but like it just feels like I'm just standing behind him most of the time, just healing him or speeding him, and I don't know what else to do besides
Right.
that.
Okay. So, uh, like I said, usually we would pick a map and just watch you play the map, and I would talk about things. But
Hmm.
I think for the first 20 to 30 minutes, I'm going to sit on the main menu here and we're going to talk. Um, so I'm going to challenge you to think a little bit and ask you a lot of questions, some of which are going to be difficult for you to answer. So if you don't know the answer, feel free to tell me. And then I think other than that, do you have any questions before we start?
No.
Okay, cool. So, the first thing I'll start with is, what is Lucio? How do you play Lucio from like a conceptual standpoint, right? So, before we get into that, let me ask you a maybe a strange question. So, you're a Mercy player, right?
Yes. Technically Life Weaver, but
But you play quite a bit of Mercy.
I do, yes.
Okay. So, pretend for a second that I am a new Overwatch player and I see this Mercy hero and I'm like, wow, this is a very cool hero. What does she do and how, like, what does she do and how does she work? Like, if I'm gonna play Mercy, what should I be doing? Like, how would you describe the way to play Mercy to me, a brand new player that's never played Overwatch?
Okay. I would say Mercy is a healer
Mm-hmm.
and but she can also damage boost your teammates. So what mainly you should be doing is healing your teammates, staying in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and if you can, try to stay in the air and move around as much as possible so you don't get hit, so you're not an easy target.
I think, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Um, do you want me to kind of give what my take on that would be?
Okay.
So, the way that I would describe Mercy is that she is a hypermobile support hero that is, how do I word this? Like, that is very good at going and supporting, offensively supporting somebody who is another player that is actively doing something and enhancing their ability, their offensive abilities. And she also excels at going and helping, defensively helping players that are under attack and under pressure. And because of her hypermobility, she's constantly bouncing between targets and helping whoever needs help or amplifying whoever needs to be amplified. Does that kind of sound right?
Yeah, that sounds a lot better than what I said.
Well, it's different sides of the same coin, but yeah. So that's kind of how. So like if you were playing Mercy, right? And let's say your Sojourn went on a flank, you would want to run to your Sojourn because she's doing something. She's taking an off angle. She's shooting the enemy, and you would want to offensively damage boost her to enhance her ability to do that thing, right? And then let's say you have an Ana, and your Ana is being attacked by a Tracer or a Winston or a Genji, and she's like under pressure, under fire, and she's losing that fight. You would want to fly to your Ana and defensively support her by healing her, right? So this is going to be kind of like truth nuke moment for a second, but Lucio does the exact same things that Mercy does, right? Just in a little bit of a different way. So if you were like, again, your Sojourn is on an off angle shooting the enemy, you can go over to your Sojourn and be with her and offensively enhance her ability to do damage by standing next to her, providing healing, speed, and also doing damage yourself, right? And then if anybody comes to contest your Sojourn, you have soft crowd control in the form of your boop to boop them away, and then also providing the healing to keep your Sojourn alive. And then if your Sojourn wants to leave, you have the speed boost to help her get out, right? Very same, like, again, one-to-one, very similar to Mercy. Just instead of a damage amp, you're providing the damage yourself, right? And then, again, like we talked about with the Ana, same kind of thing. Your Ana's under attack by a Tracer or a Winston. On Lucio, you just run over, you speed boost over to your Ana, you provide healing, and then you, instead of like damage boosting her so that she can kill people, you can actually, you're a little bit better than Mercy because you can heal and offensively contribute to the fight by healing and damaging at the same time. And you have your crowd control in the form of your boop to knock them away, right? So, in a lot of ways, if you think about it, Lucio does the same things as Mercy, but arguably even better because he can heal and damage at the same time, and he has the crowd control in the form of the boop to knock people away. Does that kind of make sense?
No, yeah. When you put it like that, it does.
Yeah, so now, again, like, going back to the Mercy example, so we've talked about, like, hey, my Sojourn's on an angle, or hey, my Ana's under attack, but, like, if you're playing Mercy, right, and your tank needs help, do you go heal your tank? This is a
As
question.
Mercy,
Yeah.
I would.
Okay. So think about it this way, right? How often are you healing or damage boosting your tank on Mercy? Or how often should you be?
I of just the tank.
Yeah, just the tank.
I probably heal them a lot more instead of doing the offense boost
Okay.
because I because after I heal the tank, someone in the back needs more healing,
Right.
and then I run over to them.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So in relation to, all four players on your team, how often do you think you're helping your tank?
Mm, not really a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. That's the correct answer. You shouldn't be helping your tank that much because your other support player is better at it, right? They have just percent more healing to support the tank. Because Mercy's healing is only like 50 a second or something like that, right? So you're not really like pocketing your tank that much because your 50 healing per second is like proportionately more effective on like a Sojourn who has less HP, right? So you're healing a greater percentage of your Sojourn's HP every second compared to your tank.
Yes.
At,
Okay, that makes sense. I never thought about it like that.
right. So um, if you think about it, with Lucio, should you really be helping your tank that much, considering that you are doing 20 to 30 healing per second?
No, even though I want to, no.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like your 20 to 30 healing per second is proportionally more HP and more effective for like your Genji or your Sojourn or your Ana than it is like a Reinhardt or a Sigma, right? So in those ways, Mercy and Lucio are very similar. You're not really helping your tank all that much, right? So, but we can take a step back from that for a second. Can you still help your tank on Lucio, even though
Yeah.
your healing is pretty low?
Yes.
Right. How do you do that?
I would probably speed boost them.
Exactly. Yes, speed boost, right? So speed boost is super, super, super helpful for your tank, even though your healing is not. So, in the balance of like, hey, I'm bouncing between my team members, right? Providing healing and like supporting who needs support, Lucio is different than Mercy because he has the speed boost that is super beneficial to his tank. So Mercy kind of really can't help her tank that much, and she's kind of trolling if she's trying to, right? But Lucio is different because he provides such a big like value to his tank in the form of speed boost, right? So but again, that doesn't mean that you should be next to your tank all the time, right? It's kind of like a hey, I'm gonna start with my Genji because I know my Genji's gonna try to flank the enemy team. He's gonna be actively doing things, and he needs my help. And then so you can kind of start with your Genji, right? And then it's like, oh man, my tank's in trouble. He's in a really bad spot. Let me run over to my tank and speed boost him out. And then once he's out, I can run back to my Genji. Or hey, I'm starting on my Genji, and then all of a sudden my Ana is getting attacked by a Tracer. Let me run over to my Ana, provide her healing, and then fend off the Tracer. So it's this weird, like, constant cycle of like bouncing between every single person on your team and who needs help and who needs what utility at any given time, right? So that's kind of the game that you're playing Lucio. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So, trying to think what else did I want to say. Um, I think that's like mostly it. That's so I'll say another difference between Lucio and Mercy is that while they're both hypermobile, Lucio kind of has to be in the right place at the right time, and it still takes him a little bit more time to go between person to person, right? So you have to be a little bit more proactive with Lucio. You kind of have to set yourself up before the fight starts to be in the right place at the right time. So if your Sojourn says, "Hey, I want to take an off angle here," and your Genji and your Queen and your Kiriko said, "Okay, we're gonna walk main," well, your Sojourn is taking a risk. She's going on an off angle by herself, So you would want to go support her before the fight even starts so that you're with her because she's most likely the one to take like a duel with an enemy tracer or an enemy Genji or something like that and need the help. So before the fight even starts, you're going to set yourself up with your Sojourn, right? And that's kind of like the direction that I was pointing you in during scrims is like, hey, this is the person that's going to be taking the most risk during a fight and who's most likely to need immediate help. So you should kind of start the fight with her. So that's where that like instruction kind of came from. But that's not all the time, right? Sometimes you're going to be playing like a Ramatra comp or something like that, right? And maybe your Genji's going to be the one flanking and he's going to be the one taking the risks. And so you want to go help him. And your Sojourn's going to kind of stand next to your Kiriko or your Baptiste and be pretty safe for the most part, right? So again, in that situation, you would start with the Genji. And then if, Sojourn gets dove or your Ana or your Kiriko or your Baptiste need help, you can go back to them. And then, like, if you're playing Dive, for instance, and you have, like, Tracer, Genji, and Winston, and then, like, maybe Ana or Kiriko, you can't really support the Tracer and the Genji at the same time, right? And they're going to be taking these really deep flanks that you can't really commit to because while they may have recall or deflect or dash or some immediate form to get like some immediate ability to escape, you don't, right? You have to like wall ride away, which is relatively slow. You don't have this immediate ability to pivot. So, in that situation, the most vulnerable person on your team and the person that's taking the most risk is actually your Kiriko or your Ana. And so she's the one that needs help before the fight starts. And so you would stay with her because you can't really effectively help your Tracer or your Genji anyways. So the person that really needs the most help is your other support. So in that
So
situation, you're supporting them.
so this would be like if we had a DPS Tracer and Genji, someone like that, not
Right.
Sojourn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
And that I would help the other support.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you really have to kind of think about like who needs the most help right now. I mean, it's the same as Mercy, right? You're kind of like when you're playing Mercy, you're kind of triaging like who needs the most help right now, and then you go and help that person, right? And then if nobody needs immediate help, you're finding the person that's actively doing something and then going over there and damage boosting them and enhancing their offensive capabilities, right? Again, same one to one with Lucio. If somebody's not under immediate threat that you need to help, you can go offensively enhance what somebody else is doing. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so I can also kind of like spell it out this way. So, um, Lucio has basically two jobs, right? So one of them is to enhance offensively, or be like a bodyguard, which is like defense, right? So you're balancing these two things all the time.
As Lucio.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So you should be like when a fight is happening, you should be constantly thinking like, what what should I be doing right now? Who needs help? And like how can I help them? Right? And again, I've said the examples like over and over again, but Um, the other like thing that you can do is you can help your tank, and usually that'll be like communicated before the fight starts. Of hey, we're gonna do this, and then if this thing happens, we're gonna go in, right? And when we go in, we want speed boost. So you kind of have to like say you're playing Queen, Sojourn, Kiriko, Genji, right? Let's say our Sojourn is going to flank a little bit. So let's say, like, this is our team. And then this is you, right? So when your team says, like, okay, when the other team uses Ramatra form, we're going to wait it out. And then right when it's over, we're going to go, right? So you would kind of start the fight over here with your Sojourn, but you don't want to be too far away from your team, because when your team says, hey, we're ready to go now, you have to be able to get over to your tank to speed boost him in. And then once he's in, you kind of go back over here to your Sojourn. And sometimes if the Sojourn is taking a lot of pressure, you actually can't speed boost in your tank, and you have to just stick with your Sojourn. Or let's say like the rotate to get to your tank is too dangerous for you, and then you have to stay with your Sojourn, right? So it's not like a, hey, I can do whatever I want whenever I want. There's like limits, right? Because you can't just run across no man's land to get to the place that you need to be, because you're just going to blow up, right? So you have to take a safe route to get there in a reasonable amount of time. And if you can't do that, you can't do the thing that you want to do, and you need to stay where you are. So, and then like the other thing is like I said earlier, hey, my tank is in, we need to get out, run over to my tank, or my, like, what we call the core. So like the core would be these three players, right? So Genji, Queen, Kiriko. And I need to speed my core out, right? So these are like some of the things that Lucio can do. Lucio is Lucio provides a ton of value to a team. Arguably the most value out of anybody on the team. And while he's rotating, he's pretty susceptible. He's fast, but he's susceptible. So most of your deaths on Lucio are going to be, hey, I was going from point A to point B and they caught me and I died. So when we're watching the VOD here in a couple minutes, we're going to kind of watch what path you take to get from point A to point B, and if that path was good. Or if you were like, put yourself in an unnecessary risky position. So like, say you were stacked on top of your tank for a long time, you kind of want to like get to your tank, speed boost him, and then once the speed boost, like once he's where he needs to be, you want to get away, because your tank is going to be taking the most damage and the most aggro out of anybody on your team, and if you're standing next to him, you're going to take that damage and that aggro too. So if you're stacked on top of your tank a lot, you're going to die a lot, because they're just going to be like, oh, hey, free Lucio, and shoot you, because it's much higher value for them to shoot a Lucio than the infinite wall of flesh that is a tank player, right? So just like we talked about with your like Mercy Beam, the 50 heals per second is proportionally more effective against, like, on your ally that's like a Sojourn or a Genji than a 700 HP tank. For the same reason, 50 damage is proportionally more effective on a Lucio than a 700 HP tank. So if they're shooting the tank and then you offer yourself up as a better option for them to shoot, you'll die. And I think most of your deaths on the map that we're going to look at are, hey, I'm next to my tank for too long, or hey, I've been caught in a rotate. And so, because Lucio has these big windows of vulnerability and doesn't have like this instant get out of jail free card like a Kiriko does, or like a Genji or a Tracer does, he's fast again, but no instant mobility. So, and because of the amount of value that he gets by being alive, Lucio is going to be the number one target for most teams. So you have to be aware of that, that hey, the enemy team is looking to kill me at all times. So I have to play like they're looking to kill me at all times. Especially like rush comps or dive comps are looking to catch you out pretty frequently. If you're playing against something like a poke comp, they're kind of like, this guy's too fast. I can't really catch him. I'm just going to kind of let the Lucio be. But something like, especially like Hazard, Hazard loves Lucio. Because as soon as the Lucio gets a little too close, slash wall dead, right? So you have to be like aware of these things.
Okay, I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what if I'm, with Sojourn flanking,
Mm-hmm.
but the Kiriko dies on the other team? Usually, what I do is I try to go back and help them because they're the core, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do I do in that position if the other support dies?
Oh, so you're saying like, hey, my Kiriko died and I'm the only support?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Most of the time, it's kind of a fight loss unless you can do something very quickly. So when your Kiriko dies, right, she's like the majority of the healing for the team. And so when your Kiri dies, it kind of like marks your team for death, right? They have basically 8 to 10 seconds to do something or they will die and they will lose. So most of the time, the correct answer from like a team macro standpoint is, hey, our Kiri is dead. Let's get out and reset, or let's just enter our brains out and see if we can flip this fight right now while we have HP. Because if you kind of sit there and don't do much, you will slowly lose the fight every time because you'll just lose HP and you'll never get it back. So, oftentimes, the correct play for a Lucio player is speed my team out or speed my team in. So I think you have the right idea of like, hey, I need to go to my core because I need help. But most of the way that you're going to be providing that help is to get them in or get them out. Very, very rarely can you like do what we call stabilizing, where you kind of sit and wait. And in those situations, if your team calls to sit and wait, you can maybe amp heal and it'll help a little bit. But that's a very like edge case where it's not, that's kind of the worst case scenario, is that you want to be sitting behind a wall amping heal. So yeah, like I said, it's mostly Kiri dies, get in or get out.
Okay, so the way you're describing Lucio to me right now, it sounds like he's not a main support, more like a, you know, shooter, like something a flex support would be. Am I getting it confused?
Um,
Because, main support to me sounds like heal at all times, everyone.
so I think there's a common misconception of what main support and flex support means. It really doesn't mean anything at all. What flex support and main support means is it's purely hero pool. It was a concept that was invented by pro players to say, "Hey, this is the list of heroes I play." Right? So, if we look at the hero gallery, your main supports are Lucio, Zenyatta, kinda. Zenyatta's kind of like in between,
Yeah.
but mostly he's kind of a main support. But the main two are Brig and Lucio. These are the two heroes that you'll like see. Hey, I'm a main support player. These are the heroes that I play. It's Lucio and Brig. Now, in addition to Lucio and Brig, there are two other like main supports that fit the category but aren't really played. And that's Lifeweaver and Mercy. Right? So, and then there's a new addition that's like kind of main support, and that's Wuyong. Right? The I would say like the best way to explain what a main support is that they're like essentially all or nothing characters. So they're either all utility, like Lucio and Brig, or they're all healing, like Mercy and Lifeweaver. Wuyong is kind of the exception to that. He does a little bit of everything, but he's considered like a main support purely because like Lucio and Brig players play Wuyong. So again, it's hard to explain, but it's purely a hero pool thing and like a team comp building thing. There's not really a direct like rule like, hey, people that are mostly healing are main supports and people that are mostly damaging are flex supports. It's not like that. The rule of like, hey, we have this hero is a main support or a flex support. The only like hard and fast rule that I can tell you is that essentially you cannot build a team comp with two main supports, but you can build a team comp with two flex supports. And then optimally, you want a main support and a flex support. Um, so, like, I can just run through some examples real quick. So, like, Mercy Weaver is a really bad team comp, right? Because you have no utility at all. It's all healing. You're putting all of your eggs in one basket and it's just healing. So you're trying to like draw out the fight as long as possible because you have basically nothing offensive to work with. So that's a bad team comp, right? Mercy Lucio is also a bad team comp because there's essentially no healing, right? You have Mercy Beam and then Lucio Aura, and there's no like form of burst healing, and that's it. Like your tank just kind of dies. Um, let's see, like Mercy Brig again, bad team comp, right? There's no real burst healing. There's nothing to help your tank utility wise. It's just a bad comp. Um, Mercy Wuyong again, like both of them have the yellow beam that does like 50 healing a second and no burst healing other than like maybe Wuyong Wave, which is pretty weak. So it's a bad team comp. Lucio Brig, same kind of thing, like almost no healing, only utility. But then on the other side of that, you can say like, hey, Ana Kiriko, both have healing, both have utility, so they're both flex supports, and like both have good damage, both have good healing, both have like good utility with Suzu and Ononate and Sleep Dart. So they're this would be a double flex support comp. Um, let's see what else is like a somewhat common double flex support, like Juno Kiri maybe. Um, I don't know. It's basically like if they're not a main support, you can play both of them and it's like okay, but like there's just standard backlines that are generally better, like Ana Brig, right? The Brig defends the Ana. The Ana has high damage and output, good utility, while the Brig is like sustain, helps the like defends the Ana, can support an off angle, that kind of thing. Wuyong Ana, same kind of thing. Wuyong defends the Ana, lots of damage output, and enhance a flanker by putting the water ring on him, right? So, Juno Brig, same kind of thing, right? Juno has speed, utility, some damage, high healing. Brig defends the Juno and like can throw packs to a flanker and support their off angle. Um, so does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
It's a very abstract concept. Uh, so it's hard to, like I said, there's no like definitive rule of like, hey, this guy only heals and this guy only damages, so they're this or that. So, um, but it's I think you can probably find like there's a few different videos that kind of break down main support versus flex support. I think OC has a video. There's another video that I really like that explains it. Um, but they all kind of just boil down to, hey, this was a thing in Overwatch League where, hey, these players played Brig Lucio and these players played everything else. So that's what it's based on.
Okay.
Any other questions before we look at a map?
No.
Cool. So real quick, we've only got about 25 minutes, but we're gonna look at least part of a map. I want to look at New Junk City. You know why I want to look at this map.
We won it.
Yep, so you won it, so your team did good, but you had 11 deaths on this map, I think, right? So we were kind of playing Respawn Simulator on this map. So I kind of want to see, like, what were you doing and how were you dying? Because this is something that you talked about, right? You went back and you watched the stream VOD and you're like, man, I just kept dying over and over and over again. How do I stop from dying? So this map, I think, is going to kind of point out, like, how are you dying and why, and were you doing the right things when you died?
Flashpoint unlocks in 10 seconds.
Okay, so you're playing with your Sojourn, which is good. Kind of poking, this is okay. So one thing that you really want to be doing, and this is like different from Mercy, right? Is Mercy gets like all of her ult charge from just healing people. Lucio has to do damage in order to build his ult. So whenever you have the opportunity to do these like little bits of chip damage, your ult is extremely strong, right? One of the best in the game. So you want to have it as often as possible. So you want to be doing as much damage as possible while doing everything else that we talked about. So I like that you're poking and trying to do some damage. Good amp, getting out, kind of rotating your team around. This is good. I think we're a little lost now, right? We're in a weird spot. There's not really anyone around us. So I think we're not really sure what we should be doing, right? We speed boost out, and now we're kind of like, oh, okay, what's next? You're like, oh, I'm concerned about my tank. My tank's doing something weird. I'm just kind of like not sure. Okay, let's go back to Sojourn. This is good. Helping our Sojourn. We're kind of going in here. I'm
Yeah,
not.
I jumped in because what's his name? Shobu said that Genji was low, and then I saw that people were jumping him, so I was like, I'm gonna go help him if I can.
Yeah, I think that's okay, right? So you're in this team comp specifically, right? Your Kiriko is pretty or not your Kiriko. Your Tracer is pretty self-sufficient, right? She doesn't really need a lot of your help. You can at times, but she has recall to get out, and she's primarily playing health packs. And she's going to be on like really deep angles like Shobu is right now. Like if you, from a top-down perspective real quick, look at where Shobu is, he's really isolated, right? He's basically like in their backline, and that's not really safe for you to be there. Because if he takes too much damage, he recalls and he's out. You can't do that. So you can't really help Shobu in this situation. Another thing, like, this is a very high level thing, but one of the reasons that Lucio and Kiriko are so strong together is that Lucio is almost always in a different place than the Kiriko and doing something else, because the Kiri is, again, pretty self-sufficient. And because of where the Lucio is, most of the time he's on some kind of off angle or doing, like, supporting somebody else with somebody else. So if your Kiriko gets pressured, most of the time she's looking to you to teleport to, right? So if you like position very poorly and are in a very dangerous spot, your Kiriko is really looking to teleport to you when she needs help, because you have healing and you have the tools to defend her. So in this situation right now, let's say your Kiriko gets like jumped by their Tracer and needs help. She's gonna run to you, and where are you right now? You're in the middle of the point, in the middle of the open, and you're like your Kiriko would probably die, right? So I think you can, obviously I'm not saying don't take risks, because you have to take risks in order to win the game, right? You can't just play safe all the time, but you have to keep in mind that when you are taking risks, you're not just taking risks for yourself, but like the rest of your team, right? So like in this situation, like I said, if your Kiriko had to teleport to you, she would probably die. So it's something to keep in mind, right? So I don't
And
like
when
that.
Saki left, yeah.
Yeah, so again, like we just talked about, right? He's like in their back line. As soon as he like feels any kind of pressure, he's recalled and he's out. And so you running to try to help him is like probably just going to get you killed, because you can't really help him to begin with. And he's just going to leave your ass behind, right? So now we're like in a bad spot because we went to try to help our Tracer. And we probably die for it. I guess not. Your movement's pretty good here. But it cost us
Yeah, I
our
was
amp,
surprised
right?
too. Yeah.
So it wasn't like, sure, you got out, but it wasn't for free. You lost amp. And amp is like a big part of your utility, right? That's your speed boost in and speed boost out, and like, hey, somebody's in a desperate situation, let me amp heal them. That's a big part of your utility. So while you didn't die, it still cost you something, right?
Disrupting.
Get into the groove. Amp up this beat.
Hold the point.
So this is okay. We're kind of bouncing between people. Now we're a little lost. We're not really sure what to do.
This beat will hear you up.
Regrouping with our Soj. This is good. Yeah, okay, so this is okay. I think we kind of just like stacked on our Sojourn because we weren't sure what else to do. and then our Sojourn was in a bad spot and got you killed, right? So, sometimes you can help somebody that makes a mistake, but sometimes you have to let them die for it. Because if you try to help them, they will die anyways, and then you'll die too. So you kind of have to like value your own life to some degree and say, hey, this person is not helpable. That's not a word, but like, I can't help this person, and so I'm just gonna have to let them die. Kiriko's the same way. Kiri's like, okay, hey, maybe I can TP Suzu this guy and he might live, but there's like a 20% chance of him living and an 80% chance of me dying, so I'm just gonna have to let him die. So, like in this situation, right, your Sojourn's in kind of a weird spot, your tank's kind of in a weird spot. You're with your Sojourn, which is what you should be doing, and then like, oh, he gets slowed and we're all stacked and we get walked on and we die for it. So.
Party time, let's go.
Okay, so we're taxing our tank. This is good. I think here in a second, yeah, so this is going to be a mistake from your team and it gets you killed again. So your Sojourn is going to follow your Tracer, which is something they never want to do, right? They never want to be stacked on the same angle, especially for Sojourn, who's going into a small room with very cramped sightlines. Like, this is just a bad decision from your Sojourn. Tracer is fine, right? But your Sojourn's making a mistake here.
I was wondering why she went in with, like, was following her.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't want to leave them alone, so.
Right, and then, so you go to help, right? Which, yeah, again, in a situation like this, it's hard to be like, hey, this guy's making a mistake. But he's making a mistake and you get killed for it here.
Oh, you'll want to hear this.
I don't like this amp. This amp was a little bit of a waste.
On your six.
Hey,
Yeah.
this music stops for no one.
I'll just take the objective. Feed your liver out, Prometheus.
Yeah, so we were just a little confused. Again, we went to help our Kiriko, right? So I see the vision. But in this situation, what do you think, how can you best help your Kiriko here?
Staying away so she could TP to me.
Exactly, right?
Listen. In the comms, Uranium kept yelling, Ramslow, and then I come in and I see that he's low, so I start shooting him and
Yeah.
getting close to it.
Yeah. So you know what the right play is now, right? After we've talked about it for almost an hour, but one thing you can do to even enhance this, so you now know what the best play is. The way that you enhance that is you communicate it. You say, hey, Kiri, I'm a safe TP. Like, you can see that your Kiriko is going to die. You can say TP to me, right? So if you see something like this, you can just communicate that you're a safe TP, and she can look for you. Because instead, she TPs to her tank, I think, which is almost always a mistake. Yeah. And she might die for it, and then you die for it.
I think we're
So.
I licked my wounds. Let's go.
It's go time. Confirm into this groove.
Okay, so I think we were not really sure what to do again, and so we just kind of took a fight against the Genji.
This is my bones.
So when you hear, again, this is something your Sojourn should communicate, but when she pops rail, you want to go stand, and this goes for like most ultimates, right? If somebody's ulting, you want to go support them because they're doing something, right? It's just like Mercy damage boost, right? Your Sojourn pops overclock. On Mercy, you're going to damage boost that, right? Every time. Lucio's the same way. You want to go like provide support in terms of healing and speed boost. And so you can speed boost your team or your Sojourn into a fight when you initiate with overclock.
Okay, what about if Junker Queen ults?
Yeah, so again, so you're saying like, hey, my queen ults and goes through their entire team and then she's in their back line. Should I go help her, right? No. Right, so again, like we talked about this, right? There's a balance. There's like a, hey, I want to do this. Can I do that safely? And is that worth it for me? So you have to be a little bit selfish sometimes and say, hey, my Tracer, my Junker Queen is in the middle of their backline. Is that somewhere I want to be? No, not really, right? I'm probably going to die if I do that. So, you don't. If the answer is I will probably die doing something, don't. Unless you like are at a massive deficit and you have to take some kind of big risk in order to make the fight winnable, don't.
Okay.
Get into the groove.
Hey,
Point needs capturing. Move it. Target's locked. Open fire.
I'll let you go about 6:55. That way you got 5 minutes to do whatever you need before the game starts.
Catch these healing waves.
What game?
Don't you guys have a? Oh, you don't have a game tonight.
Yeah, it got rescheduled for
Oh,
next week.
okay, good. Who is it that has a game tonight? Is it? I think Black has one at 8 p.m.
Okay.
and White is at. What time is White's? White might be at 7. Okay, so I guess we got a couple more minutes, but I was thinking you had a game at 7. Okay, so right now, what are you doing? What is your goal? What is your objective? What should you be doing right now?
I should be with Cosmic.
Okay. Sure, that's one thing you could be doing. Where's Cosmic? He's over
Good
here.
question. Oh,
Yeah?
I think I'm just trying to shoot to get some ult
Yeah.
percentage.
Hey, that is totally valid, right? You're saying, hey, I'm 97 to beat. Let me get my beat, and then we can engage this fight, right? And you can tell your team that, hey, I'm 97 to beat. Let me get beat, and then we can engage with beat. Valid plan, right? So in order to like get your ult, you could be stacked with your Sojourn, or you could be where you are now and like shooting an enemy team trying to get an ult. So either option is a good option, right? Like I mentioned in the chat like an hour ago or something like that. There can be multiple right answers. So there's not like one definitive thing you should be doing all the time. But if we're going to do this, right? One, we have to communicate it. So, hey, we're going for beat. We're going to engage with beat when I get it before the fight starts. And as soon as you get it, we're going to use it like pretty much immediately, right? That is our condition to do something. So I want to see. So right now you're thinking, okay, I want my ult. Good. Are we going to use it immediately? Right?
No.
Cool, we got it. Good. Good poke. Are we going to do something with it? Now would be an amazing time to pop beat and speed boost into the enemy team, right? You probably just win the fight if you do that. You don't even need rush, right? Like just one beat right now, engage on the enemy team, probably win. Now, there's a risk to that. What's the risk?
We lose and I wasted ult.
Okay, sure, that can always happen. But what's something that's guaranteed going to happen? Either this fight or maybe the next.
I have no idea. Oh, they're
Yeah.
gonna pop ult.
They're going to pop Blade. Blade specifically, right? So you have Beat can be used in one of two ways. Defensively, as a response to an enemy team's ult, or offensively, to initiate a fight. So you kind of have to balance the two. You can't always do one or the other. And sometimes, even if you do, like, say, okay, every single time that they have Blade, I'm going to hold Beat until they Blade. Okay, but sometimes you may beat the Blade and still lose, right? Because the rest of their team can do things while the Blade is happening. So maybe if they, like, pop, like, Rush and Blade at the same time, Beat's not going to be enough for that, and you'll lose anyways. So you want to basically do whatever option has the highest percent chance of winning you a fight. So if you see an opportunity, like a golden opportunity like you do right now, where their RAM is really overextended, your whole team is ready, and you're also, in this specific situation, you're completely by yourself, right? So if you don't do something right now, you're probably going to die. Because the RAM is throwing a slow at your feet right now. And nobody's near you, and you don't have any, like, crazy movement options. So you will probably die here if you don't beat. So right now I would say, like, popping Beat and telling your team to walk in with speed boost probably has, like, 70% chance of winning you this fight. I think that's pretty good odds. I would probably just do it, right? Because sure, you could save it for the Blade, but then you're like, maybe 50 to 60% chance of winning the fight versus 70 right now, right? And winning a fight now is more valuable than winning a fight later. So
Yeah, it's because I saved the Beat for every time Ramatra ulted. And I have a really hard time trying to figure out when to beat offensively because I usually just use it when my whole team is low.
yeah, I mean, I understand that, and that is a valid way to use the ult, but usually the team that takes the more initiative wins. Whoever plays first, whoever who's more proactive, whoever takes more initiative, is more aggressive, generally wins, especially at this rank. Because in, like, lower ranks, people are generally more scared. They're like, I'm not really sure what to do, and I'm a little bit scared. So if you are, like, balls of steel, confidence, sides of a skyscraper, you're like, hey, I'm doing this thing, I'm gonna do it right now, you probably win. Confidence in this game goes a long way. Like, just making a decision, like, quickly making a decision, say, I'm gonna do this thing. Really, really good, really, really strong, will probably take you, like, 5 or 6 divisions higher on the ranked leaderboard. Just that confidence alone. No mechanics, no macro, just raw. I make a decision, I stick to that. 5 or 6 divisions, right? So don't be afraid. So I think you die. So yeah.
Maybe I'll try.
Okay, so we're back now. This will be like the last fight we look at. A little lost, right? So we're I guess we're capping
I
points.
think
So
I
this
was
is
looking
fine.
for him. Oh no, yeah, you're right. I was capturing point.
This is okay, right? So as Lucio, a lot of like I said, your job is to kind of amplify. You're not really creating the value yourself. You're amplifying the existing value. And sometimes the most value you can get is just being on the objective, so pushing the cart, capturing a point, something like that. Usually that's like Lucio or Tracer's job. So I like what you're doing now. This is totally fine.
Match this BPM.
Cool, and then like immediately we're into the fight. We're helping our Sojourn. Getting a little aggressive. I think our Sojourn needed a little bit of help there, but that's okay.
Wait till we hit the
Now we're a
drop.
little lost. Not really sure what we're going to do.
It's so obvious. Like every time you point it out.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we're just not really sure what we want to do, right? Oh, there's our Sojourn. Cool. Now we know.
It's like a
Oh.
dog to a bone.
Yep, we lost her a little bit.
Him down.
Cool.
Get into this groove. Break up the game.
Okay, okay, Amp.
Oh, let's break it.
Hey, we're going in with it. Perfect. Taking some initiative. This is great. You should just win this fight off of this, right? Uranium gets a little
Yeah.
aggressive. That's okay.
Oh,
Yeah. That's fine. I like that you took initiative there, and you know what it did, right? So you guys used one beat, so one ult. This doesn't really count. Tracer's pulse bomb is basically a cooldown. It's a glorified cooldown. We don't really count pulse bomb. So essentially one ultimate. And look what it did, right? It forced two of their best ultimates, right? Like they were forced to blade and ram ult just to prevent that fight loss, and you used one. So that's a positive ult economy trade there. So that's fine, right?
okay.
Your team made a mistake, your tank made a mistake, and you lost the fight, but it forced two of theirs. Fine. Good trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it like that.
Yeah, so yeah. Beat is scary, right? I mean, it's like you got 5 1000 HP targets running at you really fast, right? That's scary. And again, that's part of why, like, having the confidence to say, fuck this, I'm going in, and, like, being confident goes a long way. Because if you just walk at them really fast, like, they're just gonna go, oh shit, what's going on? I don't know, I'm scared, I'm just gonna pop my ult. And sometimes, if you do it right, and you're scary enough, all 5 players on the other team are going to be like, I'm scared, I'm popping my ult, and then you get 5 ultimates for 1 beat. That's like as much value as you could possibly get out of that ult, right? So,
Right.
even though you may lose the fight, that trade for 5 ultimates for 1 beat and 1 lost fight may win you the next 3 or 4 fights just because they have nothing, right? So there's layers to this, right? One thing happens, it's a cascading of like 20 different like outcomes. So that's why, like, again, taking initiative, making decisions, and being confident is so important. So we won't look at the rest of this just because I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's been an hour, but do you have any last minute questions?
Let me think. So, to recap,
Yeah.
I should help Cosmic when he's flanking. I'm still confused about when, if my other support dies, I shouldn't go to the other team, to them.
So yeah, I usually do this, and I don't know why I forgot, but so we're gonna support active teammates offensively. And you're going to support how do I word this? Like, I guess I'll say threatened teammates. Defensive. Why can I not spell defensive? So like these are the two things you're looking to do. And then like on top of that, things that we just talked about in general. Be confident. And make decisions. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but like recognize unhelpable players.
Trade ults.
Yeah, we can say like trade ults. Yeah, sure. And then this is kind of like this kind of goes with this, but like be selfish. Right? Make sure that you're not putting yourself at like at great risk to help somebody. So like if somebody's in their back line, like a tracer, and you can't really help her, right? She'll just leave you and you'll die. So be selfish and help people that also benefit you. If that makes sense, right? So like going and helping the Sojourn, well, not only are you helping the Sojourn, but the Sojourn's protecting you too, right? And like providing damage and value and all of that. So you're benefiting positively from that relationship of helping that person. But if you go and help the Tracer, well, you're not really helping her a whole lot, and she's not helping you at all. So, yeah, just kind of recognize like the relationship of helping and supporting somebody goes both ways, right? I would say like play like Mercy. Right? So same kind of deal, right? Like, hey, I'm playing Mercy. My Tracer's taking a flank. Am I really going to go flank with my Tracer on Mercy? Probably not. So if you wouldn't do it on Mercy, you probably shouldn't do it on Lucio. We talk about anything else? Oh, you asked the question about, hey, my Kiriko dies. I'm the only support. What should I do? So we talked about that a little bit, but it's like, make a decision quickly, right? So be confident, make a decision. Hey, my team needs to get out, or hey, my team needs to go in. And then with your speed boosts, facilitate that. And a lot of the times as a Lucio player, you're going to have the best perspective of that. Because like, and Mercy's very similar. With Mercy, you can do like a lot of scouting, right? Because you're flying up in the air. You have like this very like aerial perspective of like everything that's going on. You can kind of see what the enemy team's doing, what your team's doing. Lucio's pretty similar. Like you have this pretty good perspective of like the whole fight. The enemy team, your team. So a lot of the times you can make that call for your team and say, let's go in, let's get out. And you just call it. Be confident and say, hey team, this is what we're going to do. And they should listen to you. Like if you watch Dragon Blade or yeah, like Extinction. So Extinction is Dragon Blade, Sleep Dart, Shrub, Worm, and a couple other players. Very, very high level team. If you watch them or if you watch Blue, you'll hear the Lucio player is talking a lot. And they're basically like foot on the throttle of the team saying, hey, let's do something, or let's go in, or let's get out. They've got their foot on the throttle of the team, kind of commanding the pace at which the team plays, because they have that speed boost, and that's like the big utility that's like, let's do this thing, right? You kind of have to do that. And especially for your team is like pretty scared to do stuff, right? They're not really sure what they should be doing all the time, and they're like, I don't really know. If you're confident and you're like, let's do this thing, and they listen to you, that'll go a long way. So,
Yeah, usually I don't talk and I just listen and obey what Uranium says. He's a tank.
yeah, so that's kind of a unique situation. A lot of, like I said, a lot of the time is the Lucio player that's making the calls that Uranium's making. Now, your team is, again, a unique situation because Uranium has played organized Overwatch for the past 6 months, right? And none of the rest of you have. He's the most experienced player on your team, and so he kind of has like the best idea of what should be happening at any given time. His macro is very, very good. Like his top-down understanding and strategy of Overwatch is way and above his like skill level. So that's why he's making those calls. But I think if you started to help a little bit and slowly worked into that role yourself, you'd be very, very good. So it's something to keep in mind, especially if you like go on to continue playing for more semesters. Like having experience doing that and like building that skill is very valuable.
That's probably why we all listen and put our confidence in Uranium when he makes calls.
So Uranium is a very confident player. He makes decisions and he's like, yeah, man, this is what I'm doing. And so everyone listens, right? So, and frankly, like Black right now doesn't have that leader that they need. They don't have that person that's like making a decision is like, yeah, let's do this. So Black's like main struggle right now is they're like, we're going to kind of waffle around and sit around for like 10 seconds poking before the fight starts because we're not really sure what we want to do. Whereas like your team doesn't have that problem because Uranium's like, yeah, man, fuck this, we're going in. So, yeah, so again, Uranium's a fantastic leader. You can learn a lot from him, and you can help him lead. So,
Okay. Do you think they'll listen?
if you're confident, yeah. But again, like, and it's not something that I expect you to like flip a switch overnight and you're like, oh yeah, man, I've got the ego the size of a planet, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, so I don't expect you to just flip a switch and then magically you know how to do this. It takes a long time. Like, Uranium's only at that point because he's been doing it way longer than everyone else has. So, and he's unique, right? He just happens to be a very confident person. So yeah, that's why he's good at it. But I think that's a very valuable thing for your team that you have a leader like Uranium. So
Yeah.
any other questions? Anything that I didn't mention?
No.
Cool.
I learned a lot.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was kind of hoping because like I'll be honest, I have not touched Lucio a day in my life, so I was trying to like, okay, I understand what Lucio does from a very like macro perspective, so I'm not really able to like be like, oh man, so you're like micro positioning, you should have been like standing here instead of there, and like I would have used the boop like half a second later, or like whatever, like very specific little Lucio thing. Like, hey, you should have used amp in this way. Like, I'm not your guy for that. But from like a very top down, like conceptual, hey, what ideas should I be floating through my head while I'm playing Lucio? That I can help with. So I think that's kind of what you needed, which is why I volunteered to like VOD first, because I think you kind of needed that like translation of like, hey, I play Mercy, but hey, I can actually play Lucio like that too. So I think
Yeah,
this is. Go ahead.
I'm glad you volunteered it because I don't think I ever would have asked.
Yeah, you're good. So I mean, I think this is a really good like foundation now. So if you work on some of these things that we just talked about, maybe like a week or two, we could look at it again. Or if you wanted to like take that next step, you're like, hey, I feel like I got this stuff. Maybe look for a VOD from like Smoes or Dragon Blade, because or like MS Dime. They're very, very strong Lucio players. They can help you a lot more with like the specific Lucio things that I can't really help with. But like I said, I think this is kind of what you needed right now, and not like here's every single thing you should do on Lucio, right?
Yeah, I
So
just like I know that I can do better on Lucio. I just didn't know where I was doing bad and what was holding me back.
yeah, yeah, we all start somewhere, and I'm very, very glad that you have like you're flexible and eager to learn a new hero. Um, it's very outside of your comfort zone. So I think that's an awesome thing. I think you're doing a really good job. So all right, well that's all I got. Um, Glad this was helpful for you. If you have any more questions, let me know. My DMs are always open, and like I said, I recorded um, VOD. So if you want to go back and rewatch something, you're welcome to. If you want like individual like replay codes or something like that from Smoes or Dragon Blade, or even like a pro player or something like that, so you can like watch what they're doing on Lucio from their perspective, I can get you that too. So
Okay, yeah. Maybe my we were talking about this yesterday, Uranium, ad that I should probably not be watching Frogger.
yeah, he is. There is a specific style of Lucio play that is very good for ranked, and then there is the 5v5 how to play Lucio, and they're very different. So
I love his movements because he can, if he's in danger, he just leaves and he
yeah,
barely dies. That's what I'm trying to learn.
yeah. I think if you're trying to learn movement, really like the best way to learn is to do just time on the hero, right? Like the more comfortable you are with moving around the map, the better. You can probably do like some like Lucio surf things. If you, I don't know if you've ever tried that, but there's like custom games where you try to like run a route through one of the Overwatch maps and try to do it as fast as you can without touching the floor or something like that. So
Okay.
that might be a tool. It's mostly for fun, but it could be a good tool. It's just really just going to be time on the hero for movement. So
Okay. Yeah.
you'll get
I
there.
definitely will be practicing.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you so much for this. This helped me a lot.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for taking the
I'm
time.
ready. I'm ready for the next game now.
Cool. All right. Well, have a good night. Thanks for spending the time with me.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right.
Goodbye.
See you.